Today we really need to check off some stuff on our list if we want to go off-roading this weekend, and I've been picking up some parts this morning to hopefully check off one of the most important parts, and that is brakes. So I got a brake hose and we got some wheel cylinders. So with that, I think that we will be able to solve our brake issues. So the plan is remove wheel cylinders, in with the new ones, on with the new brake hose, make new lines here on the rear axle, and then we have to make a new line from there until there somewhere where it is a joint. So yeah, just gonna start working, I guess. Wheel cylinders are on, and that was a little bit more problem than it could have been because the bolts were rusted, seized in here, so I had to grind them down until I can hammer this out. But anyway, we got the new ones in with some new bolts, and we got the new brake hose there. So now we can make the lines from the wheel cylinders to the brake line or the brake hose, and then we can do from the brake hose to this area wherever it connects. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. But I realized the problem here. I have seen that this leaf spring looks pretty weird here, and unfortunately that's a bit of a problem because it has snapped here. That's not too uncommon. There's another cracked one over there, but that one is in the middle of the pack, and that doesn't really matter that much. But here it's our main leaf, which means that if we go out and this starts to articulate, this is probably gonna fall out of here. It's gonna smack up into the floor, which means that this thing is gonna loosen up. I don't think it's gonna be the end of the world because it's still gonna be attached to the vehicle and so on, but obviously it's not good. So we'll see if we can do some sort of field repair for that for this weekend. There will be another set of leaf springs on the Blazer that we'll be getting tomorrow, but that thing, or I mean, I have another plan for those leaf springs to do a lift on this thing. So I would like to not have to take those leaves to put them in the back on this thing, because we're gonna put them in the front instead. But yeah, we'll see how we can solve that. But yeah, that's not our biggest issue right now. Right now it is the brakes, so we're gonna continue with them. And after some more work, we have new brake lines on the rear axle. We have that new line going forward. And as we looked at the front brake hoses, they are pretty stretched out since it is lifted. I think that we might have to redo this later on. I mean, it is sitting at right height right now since it's sitting on the rear axle on jack stands. So maybe we take that bracket and move that down so it allows the axle to move more. But for now, this is going to be how it's going to be. So I have filled up the reservoir, so we'll see if it starts to self-bleed down here. Then we can pump it and bleed it and whatnot, see if we have to bleed the master cylinder and yeah, see what we have to go through. But very soon we will have the brakes done. I'm trying to bleed the system here, but I can't really get any fluid to the rear. And I mean, on some vehicles, I just open the bleeders and it starts pouring almost immediately. And on some vehicles, it's a pain in the ass. So I don't know what's the difference between them, but this is a really simple system. But I was thinking maybe the master cylinder had air in it, so I wanted to bleed that. So I was pumping and I tried to bleed it here, but I didn't get any pressure or squirt out of here. So either the rear portion of the master cylinder is broken, or the portion for the rear brakes, or it's just air in it. So I hooked this up to bleed it. We'll see there immediately if something starts happening here. If not, we have to change it. Not the end of the world, but we won't be able to finish the brakes. But yeah, see if we can bleed it and take it from there. These rear brakes has been a real pain. What I thought was going to be an hour of job or of work has taken like 4 hours, but I think we're done now. And it has been a pain to bleed. It took forever to get fluid back. I tried to bleed the master cylinder. I felt that I got like one pump in it, and then it didn't really happen anything else. So I hooked that up and eventually I got fluid back, but it took a really long time to get the air out. And even though I got the air out, I didn't get any real pressure to it. So I'm not really sure, but now we have the brakes applied and these are stuck. But if I take both my hands and try to push that, I could, before I put the brake on right now, but I didn't really get enough or as much braking power on that wheel as I wanted, but this works better, and this is also stuck now. So if you go ahead here and remove the brakes, come on. We have a lot better brake pressure right now, but now it spins freely. This could be adjusted a little bit. I have adjusted them both, but maybe the driver's side could be a little more close. But I'm not sure how good the brakes left rear works, but they're definitely good enough to go off-roading in the way we are going to. We're just gonna cruise super slow in the woods, so we're not gonna do any no hardcore off-roading. So they're good enough, and also the brake drums are rust on the inside, and I mean, this was last on the road in like 96, 97, so it has been sitting for a long while. So I feel if we start driving it, the brakes can set and get worn in together. I think that they're gonna start working better. So for that, I'm gonna call the brakes good and done for now, but it took a lot longer than I thought it would. So now we can go over to the next part I wanna fix, and that is the exhaust. That side holds together, but here this has rusted off, and also this muffler has rusted through. So my plan right now, since we have to change that muffler anyway, I am going to go ahead and put on these. So it's gonna be quite loud, but also we don't have that much engine, so I don't think it's gonna be super loud. But I wanna put those in and just get this piece back together. It's not the nicest exhaust in the world, but it's gonna be what we can do in the least amount of time, and just to get an exhaust, because I don't have much experience of roading, but I mean, you're driving really slow, you're sitting still a lot, and I don't want exhaust fumes to just bundle up under the car or truck and get into the vehicle. So I want them out the back and away from the truck. So that's the plan. I'm just gonna fix something there. And some quick welds. We have the new mufflers in place, and all of the exhaust should come out the back. And I hate this exhaust. I would like to redo it, but the time is not on our side right now. And these tailpipes are the ugliest things I've ever seen. But at least everything should come out the back. I'm gonna try and start it here. I have started it today because I wanted to try the brakes with the brake booster. So it should fire up. Now I'm hearing that, now that I don't hear anything here, I definitely hear that we have a big exhaust leak here in the front. So I have to look into that before we can listen out the back. Found the problem, and there are multiple ones. You can see that there's a big gap here, and we have this hot spot valve, or what, I'm not sure exactly what it's called. But I believe there's supposed to be a gasket here, and this is sealing with a cone type seal against this. And also we have a crack in the exhaust here. And the thing is that these bolts most often break, and then you put on headers instead, which I most often do. But I'm gonna see if I can remove these nuts so that we can make some sort of seal here and weld the exhaust and hopefully get this all sealed up. I actually managed to get this apart, and we have this, I think it's called a hotspot valve or something, but we're gonna clean this area as much as we can. I don't have a gasket for this, I don't think so at least. I have tried to take my knife and scrape off everything here, so then we can take some red RTV and glue this back in place. And I'm gonna see, I might have a seal for this, so hopefully we can get that in place, and then we can weld this crack and bolt it all together. I have solved this, and I mean, it wasn't really that hard, but it turned into more work than I was thinking. But I just went ahead and removed or didn't put back that valve. So I realized that there was the same mating surface in that valve as in the exhaust manifold. So when I had a new gasket, so I put on that, fit perfectly against the exhaust manifold, and put the exhaust right to that. But since that is at an angle and higher up, I had to modify the exhaust. So I had to cut it here to get the angle to change. And also I had to move the exhaust forward about an inch. And I mean, it was too bad I fixed the mufflers before, because otherwise I would have not had to do this. But yeah, I can't think about everything. So that's good. And this obviously looks like crap, but the threads on these are really, really bad. And I don't have new ones, and I don't want to mess with them. So I just put on a nut until it started spinning, put on another nut, and yeah, eventually it worked. So this is solid against here. So now we can go ahead and start it and see if it leaks and see how it sounds. Okay, so let's see if we have fixed it. I turned up the idle a bit, so hopefully it stays running. Seems to be running. It's pretty loud. A bit louder than I thought it would be. We seem to have a leak on this side also, unfortunately. Okay, so those mufflers don't do that much, but also there's a very big difference listening to a car or an engine in here compared to outside out of the garage. So I'm not going to do anything right now. Also, if we get the idle down, it's probably going to be a lot quieter. But yeah, so unfortunately it leaks on this side also. So I mean, here we don't have that valve, so I'm gonna see if I can take it apart, maybe change that gasket and get it better, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see. I got this apart, and I realized the issue here, but thankfully we have that piece. So I'm gonna try and weld that back, but it's weird that it has cracked on both sides. And also on the other side, this angled flange was going inwards instead of outwards, as in doing here. So I'm not really sure. I mean, there's no sort of gasket or anything here, so I'm not sure how it's supposed to seal, but we're gonna manage somehow. So I'm gonna try and weld this back, but as you can see, it's pretty tight with space. I mean, it's easy to get the phone up and see, but I got to have my head here somewhere. And also, I think that they have bought some sort of aftermarket exhaust for this thing. Obviously, it's a dual exhaust, but they have welded it so close to the original pipe, it goes down like this. So these are very, very tight, and obviously it's hard to get some space to work here. But we're gonna manage somehow, solve this and get it back together. Got this back together. I welded in the piece that had broken off, and I have put a lot of red RTV here, so hopefully this keeps it sealed up. And I don't understand how this is supposed to seal originally, but at least it can't be worse than it was. So this is gonna have to do for now, at least until we get headers or something. But I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about something else for a little while. While the RTV sets, I thought that we could talk about something here, and that is the Nova. And what I wanted to tell you is that the Nova now is officially sold. It has been a very slow thing to sell, and I mean, the market right now is really, really dead and everything. And I know that basically all through the economy in Sweden, and I think around the world, is pretty slow right now. I know the housing market here is completely dead, and yeah, the car market also. So in the end, I got it sold, and as of right now, I have got half of the money for it, because I am selling it to a guy in Denmark. I think I talked about this earlier, and he actually he reached out to me before and asked if he could buy it, and I said no first because it's a bit of a pain to export cars from Sweden. I'm not gonna say it's a pain, but the thing is, he needs to take the car and I need some paperwork from him to prove to the Swedish DMV, or whatever I want to call it, that the car is out of the country so that it can not be registered anymore in Sweden and not registered to me. So I didn't want to hassle with that, but after a few days no one else had reached out with a trade or wanting to buy it or anything. So I thought, what the hell, just take the money and solve the problems later on. So he made actually the payment last Friday, but it has taken over the weekend and a few days until the money reached me. So now I have the money, so now I felt that I can tell you that it is leaving. He said that he's picking it up on the 6th of September, which I think is next weekend, or not this weekend, but the weekend after that. And yeah, it will be gone soon enough. And when it's gone, we can go through the numbers, see how much money we made and how much money we have to go forward to our next trade up deal. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you the situation with the Nova, because I feel I have forgot it here in the background, and tell you that we won't be doing any more to it. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I'm gonna see if the RTV has set and see if we can start the blaze. I checked the RTV and it was not sticky anymore, so I feel that's good enough for a startup. I have lowered the idle a little bit. It's definitely louder than I thought it would be. But what did I expect from these mufflers? But at least it's very quiet here in the front, so I'm very happy with that. But yeah, the exhaust, I'm not really sure. This thing is running so much better than it deserves to. I haven't changed the spark plugs. I don't think I have done anything to the distributor, and it just runs. So the exhaust on this thing, I mean, it's a mess, and I'm not sure if I really like those mufflers, but my boys are going to love them. But if I'm going to drive this thing, or I mean, if we start using it, I would of course like to put headers on it. I want to build a new dual, at least 2.5 inch, maybe 3 inch, with some chambered mufflers, and keep on improving it. But for now, we have an exhaust that doesn't leak under the hood, doesn't leak under the truck, and everything comes out the back a little bit louder than I thought it would be. But as I said, what did I think about those mufflers? So we haven't really gotten as far as I thought we would here today. I thought that we would be done with the brakes and exhaust at like 10 or 11, and now it's over 3. But yeah, we had some trouble with the brakes, we had some trouble with the exhaust, so what can you expect? But I'm really happy we're done with the brakes. I'm really happy with that we're done with the exhaust. But we have some major things left, and especially the transmission, which we'll hopefully have here by tomorrow. And by then I would like to remove the transmission in the truck, so we're ready. But I'm gonna go through my list here. Sorry for Swedish. Tires or wheels, those are really easy. Hopefully we can use them from the new K5 we'll get them tomorrow. Steering, the steering joint between the steering column and the steering box doesn't have the correct bolts. Hopefully we can rob those bolts from the Blazer tomorrow. Seat belts, we can just put in some lap belts. Transmission tomorrow. Seats, that goes together with the seat belts. I think we're gonna do that tomorrow. Rear drive shaft goes together with the transmission, and charging system and the servo power steering pump. So charging, the little fan blade on the alternator for some reason is loose and the nut is missing, and I'm just assuming that the alternator doesn't work. So we have to put on another alternator, and I'm not sure I have one that works. We're gonna put on a belt, of course, see that we have a charging system, and the power steering pump is screaming a lot, but I'm not sure if that's just a dried up belt. So hopefully we don't have to change the power steering pump, but I have like 5 used ones that we can try with. So yeah, we'll see how we manage, but we still have 2 full days to complete this, and I would really like to be able to go and drive this thing this weekend, but we'll see if we can solve everything. But yeah, that will be all here for today, and I'll be back to you tomorrow and see what we can accomplish then.